All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. We've been with crystals today and all kinds of fun stuff. So, all right. So I'm going to pull this card here to see. Nothing's popping out. So let's pull the first one.
Ooh.
Nice. Nice, nice. I like that picture. Doesn't it look like one of the Vikings?
Ooh.
Oh, and that was one of the stones. Remember one of the new stones?
I said something about stop, because again, she hadn't told me about the stone, and I just said time stopper.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then she was reading after I said that. Then she was reading it, and it actually said
breaking the code of time or something like that on it. Yeah. Look, he's got the infinity thing on the infinity symbol on the chest here. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That is beautiful. Look at that. Interesting. You can see that sacred geometry. Yeah. Feathers in the hair.
Yeah.
And a little bit of rainbow in there. I like that.
Oh my gosh. You see the feathers in the hair? See the feathers in the hair?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was cutting the grass the other day, and I was finding bird feathers. And I didn't have any place to put them. I wanted to save them and give them to her. So I stuck them in my hair.
Yeah, he came in and I was like,
I forgot that I had them there because I just like 10 of them, but most of them were really, really small. But I did find a couple that were bigger, so I just stuck them up there. And by the time I finished mowing the grass and we topped off the bird feeders and hummingbird feeders and water and all that, she came over to me and she was like,
feathers in your hair.
You got feathers in your hair.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's feathers in the beard. Look, the beard.
What's the one on the
bottom? Completion. Snake.
Yeah.
Figures all the way. Yeah.
I love those cards.
Oh yeah, they're so great.
No, you can't have them.
This one has the number 9 too in it.
Oh wow, I've been seeing 9s all the time lately.
Yeah, it was the 9/19/19.
That was Charlotte's birthday. It's Charlotte's 11th birthday.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah.
Wow!
And I'm 44 this year too, so it's special. But yeah, 9/19/19 was her birthday.
Yeah.
And I had all these feelings about how she's got special wisdom about her. She knows stuff that she's more mature than I am too, and she knows stuff just like by gnosis. It's crazy what she knows at her young age.
Yeah, well, they're not, I think, getting fully wiped as they come in now, and they're coming in with some DNA memory online. We're having to try to break loose in us. Come in with it. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I saw that the sphere too on there, and I thought about our
little encounter in the backyard.
Oh yeah, would you like to talk about that?
The other night, she and I were talking, and when we talk, she's backstopped by the back room and all the windows. They're one right next to them. They're big windows, and that's where the bird feeders are. They're right up against, almost up against the window, and it was dark, so you can't really see any. There's no neighbors. There's woods back there, and then on the other side of the woods is the back of the driving range for the golf course, and so you might be able to see a really faint light way, way, way off in the distance.
Yeah, but it's tiny and it's like a yellowish color because it's so far away, So,
but I was talking to her, and we had been talking for a while, and then all of a sudden, I saw a light, but it wasn't like a flashlight, and it was off the ground.
Up high off the ground.
Up a little bit higher off the ground, but not far from where we were. So I said, "Do you see that?" So I got up to go into that back room so I could see it, and I wanted to make sure she could see it. I wasn't just seeing things. And it ended up being multiple. There were 3, and they were orbs.
And they were moving.
And they were very bright, but they did not look like a flashlight. They weren't shining light down. And they were moving like this and winking out and winking back in. And there's nothing back there to do that. Like I said, it's kind of swampy right there between in the woods. It's kind of swampy until you get to the driving range, and the driving range, there's nothing there. It's kind of like
it's just a field.
It's the most boring driving range I've ever seen. There's nothing there. And it certainly wasn't flashlights.
No, because it didn't cast like flashlight.
Right.
It didn't cast a beam. It was just the light source is all you could really see. And it was like moving around like
and they were moving way up
independently.
They weren't here.
But like somebody was going with the light of some no way. So,
and they were like were they like a bluish white? They
were a really bright white at first.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. They kind of, it was hard to tell because of the trees and stuff like that. But
yeah, because they were going in and among the trees were in the way and whatnot. So,
but yeah, that was pretty interesting. So last night I kept going.
That's so cool.
I go out there. I go in the back room every night before I go to bed just to see if there's any more, because it was otherworldly. I typically can read if objects, trees, and bushes, and especially when the birds are around and everything. From this thing, I got nothing. It had it. Well, it actually wasn't nothing. It was actually a mental block. So there was something there. It was just I could feel that there was a wall put up so that I couldn't read it.
Yeah, and last night, then was it last night before last? The next night after that, I went to bed, and normally when I go to bed, the window's back behind me, and off to the to my left, if I'm laying in the bed, is usually where the moon is about the time I go to bed, which is usually after midnight. I laid down and I rolled over, and to my right was a light that looked like the moon, and I'm like,
that doesn't make
what's that?
The moon doesn't go on that side of the house at that time. So
that would bring up the other thing that I said about
overhead.
What was overhead. I said 3 ships.
Yeah, that was before
and
that.
And then we saw the 3 orbs.
And then we saw the 3 orbs.
So the night before that, I told her something was speaking to me, and I said that there were 3 ships overhead, and I didn't know what their agenda was, but they had been there for quite some time and keeping tabs of us. And then the next night we saw the 3 orbs.
And then the next night was the light up to the. So it's been interesting. So
getting ready.
Yeah.
So.
All right, you ready?
So great, dive in.
Yes, ready.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this one was very powerful. This whole list today. So, and I just finished it right before we came on. So
you were in there a couple hours. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So the first one is, it's now time to let go of the familiar and develop your pristine fantasy.
Yeah.
It's now time.
So where we talk about, what comes up for me is where we talk about creating our energetic, what we feel and what we see and play in that imagination, to start manifesting our future. Is that the signature? That's what's coming for me.
You got to let go of the familiar.
Yeah, anything comfortable. I'm feeling like, because anything comfortable, I've been repelling it. Anything that makes me feel like safe and comfortable, it's been, oh, okay, I'll feel it for a second. I'm like, oh, this is death to me. Nope, I got to bust out of this. And then I have the pain of like losing it for a second. And I'm like, no, this is what I need. I can't be in those comfortable places anymore, because that's not where I'm growing. So I'm easy. It's like so much easier to shed it now. It's like, oh, that I can't be there, can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to shed it now versus the universe shedding it for us.
Well, we're being prompted with the energies hitting the planet and whatnot. It's universe is not going to leave us any choice in the familiar, because that familiar is lower frequency, and we're leaving this lower frequency for a higher frequency. So anything familiar was familiar at the frequency you were at.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's some things, like I'm sure there's things that I have that is still familiar to me that I'm just kind of overlooking.
Yeah, everybody.
That I think,
yeah,
get away with it, and it is right there.
Everybody.
But I think it's got to be a process, though, too. I think it's got to go in layers. All at once would just be too much.
Why we're
and learning how to do it, though, because it used to be I was able to cut somebody off and burn it to the ground and be like, screw that, but now it's with love, it's not in anger or in feeling like upset or, jaded, any of that. It's just with love because I know it's not my path anymore, Yeah,
if you're feeling pressure or stress, that's time to let go. These things should not be pressurized, or because if you do, then you're going to make a drastic change instead of a one from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. The next one is chiseling out your uncomfortable truth from the comfort of your home.
I would have a little chiseling this week. Yeah, so don't involve other beings in your messiness of chiseling out your truth.
No, it doesn't mean don't. But just remember that if you're going to get splattered, they're going to get splattered.
Yeah, be responsible with it. Yeah, don't force other people to chisel it out for you. You can do it for yourself.
But it follows the first one. It's getting rid of the familiar for your uncomfortable truth. It's uncomfortable because we'd have to give up what is familiar to us in order to accept it. You might hear someone tell you something about things getting better and whatever, but do you really believe it? Do you then go and act like that with the rest of your life? Most people don't. I don't always do that.
Yeah,
because it's one thing to hear something and say, okay, that sounds good, but it's another thing to live it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you hear things that are changing, shifting, and then you drop back into the Monday through Friday, of your life, and the way you go to work, pay bills, whatever, just returns to that same cycle, because it's comfortable. Even if we don't like it, it's still comfortable because it's known.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even know what we would like at a higher frequency.
Yeah.
So all of it's going to be uncomfortable until we let go and let go of the old familiar and make room for the higher frequency things to manifest for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's very true. I mean, you think about most people.
I know, I said it.
Most people can tell you what they don't want more than they can tell you what they do want. So, I mean, that's a prime example. So if you're finding yourself, somebody asking you what your heart really wants, and all you can think of is not this, not that. It's not,
that's not the same thing as fantasizing about what.
Yeah.
When kids start, play their fantasy world and everything, they don't start with not.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's us.
Yeah.
We have to relearn how to fantasize. And that's
it's almost like our self-esteem is so low that we can only think, well, we don't want this, we don't want that, instead of like, I want that, I am worthy, so I want the moon, I want so much because I am valuable and I'm worth it.
Yeah, it's hard to say it because there are so many taboos in our society to keep us in place. If you act this way, that's, you're not being humble enough. And if you act this way, you're coming off as seemingly crazy, or, you don't know what you want, or so.
Or you're not realistic. Your head's in the clouds. I mean, you can things that, the things that have been, out there that we have to chisel out so we can, let ourselves do that.
Yeah, it's not meant to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
This was meant to be difficult,
Mhm.
and I'll get to
Why?
some stuff that, later in the list.
Okay.
So
I know. I don't want people to bring me to reality. It's like, no, I don't need reality. I need more magic in my life. I'm not going to listen to your reality.
I've had a few, of my students, they'll come and start talking to me about something, and I'll be like, okay, well, that's not in my reality. I'm not saying you don't have to believe it, but I'm not calling it into me. So I'm just, that's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
with that,
You can keep it to yourself.
yeah, watch where you're pointing at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is don't apologize for breaking it. Instead, be accepting of your break. If you break it, you own it. If you own it, you can change it.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like vulnerability, like complete and total vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you don't own it, you're not going to change anything.
Can't change what you won't recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I kind of perceive from this is, for me, I'm the way I'm deciphering is that don't be surprised if I start accidentally breaking things.
Mhm.
Not that I would go out and try to do it, but don't be surprised if I'm doing something familiar
Mhm.
and the glass I'm using or something breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Use that moment, that now moment, to be accepting of that break and realize what does that symbolically represent for you.
Mhm. Yeah, that happened to me last weekend, and I washed some clothes and one of my things bled all over something else. I went to open the blind, and the blind broke, and I'm like, the whole day was like that. So it's like, okay, I'm not, because it was my normal mode of, okay, it's Saturday, I can do this, I can do that. So I just kind of said, nope, that's it, and
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
done. But it's the breaking of stuff like that. Even it's messages.
Go into the now. Catch yourself. What do you do because of that thing broke?
Mm-hmm.
Catch yourself. What do you berate yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you call it bad luck? What do you do? Because that's what you're manifesting.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of brainwashings that you can catch in the moment and do something with.
Yeah.
You can say, that's how my future stays status quo, because those are the type of things that won't let me climb above it.
Mm-hmm. The things that I do following the break is the things. Yeah.
The break is not that important. What broke is not that important, but it's an opportunity. It's instead be accepting of your break. You just got to break, whereby you get to catch yourself.
I remembered when I broke a glass, and it was like in the last year, and it was one that I'd had from childhood, something like Flintstones cup. I just loved it. And so it broke. I was sad, but then it was gone. Something I'd had forever. It was gone. Then I cleaned my floor, and it got cleaner than it had been in so long. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. My whole floor got really clean, and I don't even care about the cup anymore because it's shattered beyond repair. So boom, boom. Oh, well.
Well, and the reaction, like you're saying, is yeah, it does tell you a lot. Like, do
you
beat yourself up?
It
do
can,
you not?
if you stop and just become the observer in that moment, become the observer and catch yourself. You don't need to try to fix it. Just try to catch yourself. And what are the things that you're telling yourself?
Yeah.
What are you berating yourself for not paying attention, or for allowing yourself to be distracted, or whatever it is? Stop doing it and be that observer, and then you'll do it again and again and again, and you'll start to see a pattern.
Yeah. It's even like, what did I do wrong? I mean, even that's a reaction that goes.
Yeah,
to
we are
a
beings of
pattern.
patterns.
Yeah.
And in order to rise above it, we've got to catch ourselves and start to break these patterns down in order for us to even start to fantasize about a glorious future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. All right. The next one is, would you remodel over a burial ground? We're digging up the unmarked graves and bones of our memories to free the spirits of change.
Would you remodel over burial ground? Read that one again, the whole thing.
Would you remodel over a burial ground? We're digging up the unmarked graves and bones of our memories to free the spirits of change.
Yeah. Yeah, that has a few layers to it. Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
This one's got magic all intertwined. I'm telling you right now. This one goes all the way back to our first incarnations here.
Yeah. Wow.
Think about it. Think about what we're doing right now. What are we trying to do? We're trying to upset the apple cart that the powers that be have. And what are we doing it on? We're doing it basically on top of a big burial ground.
Yeah. And our life is really on a burial ground, like you said. It's our memories.
But what's holding us in place? Our memories of the past. So in order to do this, we're going to have to dig up the unmarked graves and the bones of our memories in order to free our spirits to start for change, to start fantasizing.
Yeah. And there'd be different ways of doing that. I mean, Jenny, we've talked about before in our groups, the like past life healing, whether you go back hypnotically or, whatever, and release some of that, or whether it comes online or you do it blanketly or whatever. But it's kind of like releasing any of that guilt or trauma of things that happened to you because you expressed your gifts in the past or whatever. But it is very much in releasing energetics because pattern,
like rescinding old agreements and things like that.
Yeah.
My third eye started pulsating, like it started pulsating when we started talking about this.
What I get is this could be hard or it could be harder.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be pain-free, but
you can't. I mean, civilization can't get rid of something that is so ingrained throughout the whole global society without really, digging up all your old memories and working through it. Otherwise, because that's what holds you in place.
And those are the unknown things.
Yeah.
That if you don't look at them, they're the ones that are still there.
Well, I'm talking about each and every person. Yeah. And imagine what you've got to deal with. Yeah. Then multiply that by, 7.5 billion people.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And that goes back to one of the earlier ones, which was chiseling out your thing from the comfort of your own home, because a lot of the stuff that you dig up is not necessarily going to be comfortable to share with others, and look yourself in the mirror about until you can, transmute it.
Well, that one is chiseling out your uncomfortable truth from the comfort of your home.
Right.
But it's chiseling it out from the comfort of your home.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's double meaning.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting.
You don't need to go anywhere to do it. You can do the comfort of your home, but you've actually got to unchisel or chisel yourself out of the comfort of your home.
Yeah. Because that's go places, I think, because they don't feel like they can do it in their own home. But I
did a lot of it inadvertently while I was sleeping with YouTube past life regression meditations. I would pop them on, go to sleep, and then I noticed when I went home to Virginia, it wasn't painful. And then I was like, oh, it's working. All that stuff's working.
Yeah, because we're not. Yeah, exactly. Same.
Mhm.
We're going home to West Virginia, and it's amazing what can get done in our sleep.
Mhm.
We think we're sleeping and dreaming, but we're working. Our soul doesn't need to sleep. It's just this physical vessel that lays down. But um, yeah, I listen to things in my ears too all the time.
I can even during the day now, not with no headphones or anything, just to like lay down and kind of zone out, and I feel myself go, and I'm doing something. Like if I'm not feeling well or something, I'll just go do some healing astrally and then come back. I can do it just in 15 minutes. But I don't know if it's something I can do all the time, but lately I've been able to just do that.
Mhm.
Just tune into something, my own doctor, inner doctor.
Yeah, you're practicing your teleport.
Yeah.
Blip in, blip out.
All right. The next one is bargaining your present past for an opportunity at a fantasy future. Hard bargaining and courage, but remember, it's you you're haggling with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we are currently bargaining our present past for a fantasy future.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, I just saw a thing on Facebook. It said why the windshield is so big and the rearview mirror is so small. It's because we should be looking out ahead of us much more than we should be looking behind us. That's what came up when you said that. But
Well, we often talk about going somewhere and growing roots. We do. We're pattern matchers, and those become roots, and then they just get deeper and deeper and deeper. And at some point, you're living a status quo, and that's the next day, the next day, the next day. It's more of the same, Yeah, occasionally get a little different here and there, but in another couple of days, you forget all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I feel with these energies coming in is your past memories are bubbling up, and they're not going to stay in the ground. So it's not, the universe isn't going to take care of them for you, but it's going to make them not be embedded in the ground. And you're going to be the more you hold on to them, the more uncomfortable you'll be. You really don't have any, it's either be uncomfortable chiseling out your new future, or be uncomfortable with all your memories coming up out of the ground and swirling around you.
Yeah. So the resurrection is like, it's like, yeah, that's kind of your own personal resurrection of all the memories. Yep.
Yeah, I feel it'll make you sick if you don't deal with it. Like it'll make you physically sick. Like this week, my family's had a purge with the kids going to school, and my youngest, she's, throws up, no big deal. She's in a fine mood, but then my boyfriend, he's like, there's things coming out of me I've never seen. Oh my God. I'm like, it's a flu, and you have toxic stuff that you're dealing with that you choose not to deal with. So it's coming up this way. But it's amazing, like how all of us handle it in a different way based on what's going on inside of us. And I was just like barely anything, So it's just, it said a lot energetically about how we're all living our life in this family.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all going to get it at some point, because you can't be here as long as we've been here without having multiple layers of roots.
Yeah.
So for those who trick themselves into believing that they've taken care of most of it, it's going to hit you when you least expect it, because you're not letting it come through when you're expecting it.
In waves.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know why this comes up, but I mean, I think it relates, is why it's coming up, is I had the thought, I was sitting out on the beach meditating, and I had the thought, what if a spaceship came and said, here, you can go with us, Come on, you can go with us. And
Tim be like, I don't care.
you can say, well, I'm ready for a new, but if you,
Can I have your Jeep? Yes.
Yes, you can have that.
Unless otherwise directed.
Yeah.
And I come back. Oh, I didn't know you were coming back. I thought it was mine. No. So anyway, but it shows you in that instant of thinking of that where all the attachments were,
Right.
Of what was, everything really quickly when you think about something like
that layer.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
we've got layers going this way and layers going across. And remember, I mean, I think the more capable and intelligent you are,
the more layers.
I'm not going to say you're going to have it harder than other people, but it's probably going to be more complicated. There's plenty of people out there that their life's pretty simple, and they they don't know any better. And some of them, they'll go through some things or whatnot, but they've had probably incarnation after incarnation after incarnation, probably, floating around the same kind of stuff because they dealt with their deeper lessons maybe back, thousands of years ago. Who knows? But that's up to them. Yeah. I mean, I'm still thinking, okay, I think I'm doing pretty good, and I'm getting this stuff and everything, but I have a feeling I've got some more stuff coming my way. Things that I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah.
I get caught up in thinking about that too, but then I'm like, well, I don't want to put any kind of a fear out there of being scared of it, so I just try to allow it and understand that I did sign up for it, but not be scared of it at the same time, because I do think getting caught up in that, oh gosh, this whole thing coming in January of 2020, what's that mean to me? Let me look at my sign. But then I don't want to know too much because I want the journey and I love the journey. The journey's where it's at. So.
Yep, I agree. I don't, but if I do feel fear, I want to catch myself. I can't fix it if it does. So I don't want to be fearful of being fearful. So I'm gonna, if it's gonna come up, if I can catch it now and I can at least observe myself doing it, then I have a chance of cracking it open before universe says,
yeah, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I want to tell myself that I want to have fun with this. And some of it I am having fun with because I tell her I constantly, I read a lot of books and I can virtually jump into the story and put myself, maybe not even in the protagonist's, place, but in that, similar type scenarios or that environment. And I can virtually go through kind of what like that. So
that's cool.
But I still want to leave room that at the moment of where I'm at right now with the knowledge that I do have online, that I don't, my 3D, 4D mind is not going to let me see all that there is to see.
Yeah.
And not be fearful of it, just be aware of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. That one's deep too.
All right. The next one is the current power structure is excavating its own void. Will you be ready to fill it? Demolition is but a fantasy's breath away.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that has layers to it too.
Yeah, many.
Yeah, because that could be personal, that could be collective, that could be, that's. Yeah, it's like don't get in your enemy's way and let them do their own, because you talk a bit about the system is excavating its own void. It's just don't get in the way of that or stopping that or
just be an observer of
Yeah.
it and watch. I mean, the impression I got is everything that we've been watching on TV since we were kids, it's all a play. It's all there to provide a narrative and to steer elements of the public to buy certain things or to have a certain mindset or to accept certain things and to play by their rules.
Dress a certain way. And yeah.
So that is coming down, and it's coming down hard. And it's imminent. It is breaking down. As far as Trump, love him or hate him, he's
a change
I'm
agent.
indifferent to him. I mean, I kind of think he's entertaining, honestly, but I'm indifferent.
If you can step back without an opinion, if you could just step back and be the observer and just watch what happens to the media, to the Democrats, to other Republicans who don't support Trump, and just watch. Don't have an opinion. Just step back and just watch. It's amazing to watch this thing coming down because many people that we've watched on TV are getting caught up in it. Celebrities, musicians, clergy, obviously politicians, big corporate. I mean, if there was someone keeping tabs of all the politicians that are not going to rerun for their office, all the big corporate bigwigs,
CEOs
that have either resigned or are in the process of resigning, it is amazing. I have never seen it like this ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. The list.
Wow.
And all the intelligence, top intelligence peoples from FBI, CIA, all the three-letter agencies. It's amazing how many people have either been fired, resigned, or
otherwise out of office.
Yeah, they're on terminal leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really, and we don't hear about it.
We're not talking about, a few dozen. We're talking about many,
hundreds.
many.
So like a whole portion of the government, basically. A huge portion of the government. Wow. I'm just over in the corner playing with my drums and crystals. I'm not giving a crap about any of it.
Yeah, but you're playing into it, right? Even
Yeah.
you're cleaning and clearing, we're affecting that because there's energy there to sustain the old systems. So it's interesting to look at it just from how we do. How's it going?
Yeah, what's gonna happen? Wonder what's gonna happen. Yeah.
So, but it's not getting into the way, because the minute we get upset, the minute we get emotional, and we start taking positions and fighting about, playing into that game, getting manipulated by the old tracks of divisiveness. We're just feeding into that versus allowing it to excavate its void and us being prepared to step into that void.
I see those as opportunities to catch yourself being opinionated.
Yeah.
Me, this is the message for me. The more opinionated I am, the harder this is going to be.
Yeah.
That's
right.
It can be hard, or it can be harder.
Yeah.
The more opinionated you are, the harder this is going to be.
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. I have fun with my students arguing the opposite view. So if they're the collection of them are talking about, I'll just take the other view just to rattle them a little bit, just because you can take whatever position, but oftentimes just to unlock that that lock that people realize they have it until they're fully delve into it a little bit. So yeah. But you can tell it when you hit it, the nerve. It's like, whoop, it's right there.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't been in a society for quite a while where you can actually say what you mean and mean what you say.
No.
right or wrong, you should be able to say whatever you want to say. And if you say something racist or you say something bigoted or whatever,
Offensive or
then
something.
let people. I mean, if I was standing there and I heard someone and they were being racist, I'm not going to fight them.
Me neither.
Walk away and take my energy somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
Stand on their own 2 feet and deal with people just going, I'm sorry, but I can't be part of it.
When they
No,
pick
thank you. Yeah.
everybody, then they'll start to look at themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, so I read that one more time because I think there's another layer there.
The current power structure is excavating its own void. Will you be ready to fill it? Demolition is but a fantasy's breath away.
Yeah. So it goes back to the fantasizing about our future and doing it from a completely creative perspective. Like instead of just fantasizing, oh, we want this kind of government to do this or this, is like, why are we thinking we need this kind of government? It's like, how do you fantasize without the framework of those old
Paradigms. Yeah.
structures? If we don't chisel them out and work on them, then we're going to like fantasize in a framework.
Well,
It's still in a box. Yep.
our power allowed these governments to form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our power that will allow them to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Have a different way of
So
community.
How fast this demolition occurs is up to your beginning of your fantasy that this all go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Very good.
The next one is pass it around. There's no going back to the distorted masculine paradigm of yesterday. We're time traveling back to 1492 with a new mandate.
For this, you're talking about for our country specifically.
I'm just
yeah.
symbolically imagine knowing what you know now, and you're on the ships back then headed to the new world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
How are you going to treat the natives?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
How are you going to treat the land?
Yeah.
Are you going to allow an all-encompassing government to tell you what licenses you need to get and whether or not you can start a business or how high you can reach?
Mm-hmm. Or you can't stay on this land because you don't have a surname.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is we can't go back.
Right.
The old paradigm is crumbling. There is nothing to go back to.
Mm-hmm. Even
if we tried to go back, where Republicans and Democrats, and we're going to vote in whoever they give us to, we don't even get to really pick who the final is, going to be running for each office. Oh, and we only get 2 parties really. And government pretty much doesn't produce anything, but they're all inclusive in our lives about what we can do, and you got to go get a license for this or a license for that.
Yeah.
So energetically, what that's saying is like we're getting on those ships, and we're right now sailing to that new land. What is it? What do we want it to be?
That's one approach to it.
Yeah.
To get the ball rolling. I don't know. I don't know what it looked like when those ships landed. Really, I don't know that I trust what was written in the history books. But I know what they try to sell us as what they want us to believe happened. And even it doesn't matter. I don't want that. So now I'm pretending as if we're going there, and they think we're going to play their game, and nope, not gonna. They wait till we get there, and then I'm gonna have my fantasy all ready to go and see who else has a different fantasy. They don't have to have the same fantasy I have, as long as it doesn't agree with the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Because the establishment doesn't have our best wishes at heart.
Mm-mm.
They're there to ensure their own survival.
And we're all good as long as we stay in line.
Yeah.
I keep visualizing Swiss Family Robinson, the movie, like from the, the old Disney one, in the trees, living like that. That'd be the best.
I would love that.
We've talked about
Me
it.
too.
It's like my island.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about Swiss Family Robinson many, many times.
Maybe we'll get into that sometime.
Yeah.
We did it on
Movie night.
Yeah, Swiss Family Robinson and Monty Python.
Monty.
We are movie. Oh shoot! Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So symbolically, this is what I kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't the fantasy. It's the start of the premise for the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's paving the way. It's if I can't pull something from the future, which I can, but I mean, it seems a whole lot easier to pull something that you know of from the past or that you've read about and say, what would I do differently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just have a place to
fantasize
start.
that you have the power and that there are more people like you than not. Meaning like you that want something different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So the last one is, where did it all go wrong? It didn't. We allowed the most difficult of challenges worthy of our divine capabilities and demanding enough to warrant generations of celebrations following the true rise of our awakening independence. It's Independence Day on a global scale, maybe even galactic.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, I can feel that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you had the dream or whatever, where you walked in and on the other side there were all the people that were like happy to see you, kind of feeling that energy of that Independence Day energy of, we made it, and look, we're free. We can do whatever, and we can float, and we don't have resistance. And yeah.
The reason I was able to write this the way I did is because I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm talking about generations of celebrations, because think of how long we've been here under this kind of regime. Thousands of generations. Yeah. So what do you think the celebrations are going to be like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be magical.
Feels really good. I feel, yeah.
But we've got to pave it. We've got to go, not work for it. We've already earned it. We've got to allow it with our fantasy.
Yeah.
We've got to put our energy into the things. That's our vote. Our vote is the things you put your energy in.
Yes.
Taking it away from the things that we no longer want.
Yes.
And saying, no more. I'm not going to do that anymore.
I'm not playing that game.
So, I mean, it comes down to the whole thing,
and not even giving that much energy to not wanting it, just turning away towards what we want.
Yeah. Don't fight the system. I'm not fighting the system. The system needs our energy. Without our energy, it is nothing.
Right.
So you don't need to fight it. You're fighting yourself.
Right.
And just put your energy into doing what if to start, and with other people, and just saying, hey, what if we didn't have a government anymore? What if just us? It was up to us to put a community together and start, I don't know, bartering.
What would we do?
How would we go about it? How would we get going? How could we build interest? What would we want in a community of tomorrow?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. That's a project I have going on right now. And I called it the Community of Tomorrow.
You did? Wow.
That's what I named it. Yeah, because it's like how do we recreate?
Recreate?
Mm.
You mean?
Create over again.
Well, you're creating it new.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Over top of burial ground.
Yes, yeah. Modeling.
So we're going to have to do some excavating and basically pay homage to those who went into making this challenge worthy of our capabilities.
Yeah.
Even those who did the worst of things.
Yes.
Because if you fight them, you're just giving them energy.
Yeah.
We have to accept that they came here in this current incarnation to play that role because somebody else didn't want to play that role at this time.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go in. I don't want to be a bad guy going into the Enlightenment. I want to be a good guy. Well, if everybody wants to be a good guy, then we'll have nobody to play the bad guy. Okay, I'll take one for the team.
Yeah, exactly. And those were probably some of the biggest hearted beings outside of this reality to do that. Which is hard to, when you see.
Yeah.
Hard for
I know from a worldly view, it is hard to think of it that way, but that is how I feel about it on a grander scale.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some horrors coming our way.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, this is just for me, that yes, I don't want to turn my eyes away from it, but I also want to say that that's exactly what I don't want to put energy into. And I want to make sure that anything approaching that kind of energy signature, we don't recreate in our community of tomorrow.
And that's why saying what you mean and meaning what you say and not being politically correct and everything is going to be so vital, because we're all prescient and we're all intuitive. And as we clean that away, we're going to peel into and be like, oh, wait a minute, it at the essence of it isn't going to seem like that bad thing, but it's the seed of it. And we'll recognize it in time that we can say that seed of that behavior there is going to lead to this trajectory. So we've got to nip it now.
Right.
Waiting till it, goes, but we'll upset them or we won't. It's got to be the community and our environment has to be so vitally important. It's not about that one, feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, we have to realize that everything we say to other people and to ourselves matters.
Yes.
We are programmable, and that means when someone keeps telling us something, somehow, if we don't push them away, and if we come back and get it again and again, we're allowing that to be programmed into us.
Right.
Ourselves. If you keep telling yourself that you're tired, guess what? You're going to be tired. Tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be there tomorrow, and you're going to do the same thing until you find enough.
Yep.
I want something different. I truly am ready for the familiar, which is really not for my good.
Not for your freedom, that's for sure.
I need that to go away so that I can fling open the doors and see what I'm capable of.
Or so when the ship comes, you just hop right on it and get out of here. Don't worry about it.
Bye, Gina.
Peace out.
I did not even get a peace out.
I guess you guys should have that conversation now. A plan.
Yeah.
I said, well, if that happens to me, I'll try to find a way to send a telegram.
Right.
Some kind of sign or something, maybe it'll be writing in the sky.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's funny.
that's cute.
Yeah, I like this. That was
That was fun.
Anything else, Jenny? Do you wanna?
No, I'm good. This was a good time. Fun Saturday night.
Absolutely.
No, I forgot it was Saturday.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and I lose track of time completely
We-
nowadays.
This is last weekend was a first for us. No, we didn't try to do this, but we absolutely watched no football, no college football, no NFL. This is a first in my life.
Yeah.
I had no agenda to do it. It just did not speak to us.
We didn't even realize it until after it was over. It was like
Monday, we were like, oh wow,
we didn't
watch any
watch
football.
this weekend. Yeah.
And we said, oh, I don't care about NFL because they're all
Right.
whatever. And we said, but it'd be nice to watch some college. We like college football because they seem to try harder and all this. But
we didn't have it on today either.
Nope.
So, but it's my energy and your energy. It's going elsewhere.
Yeah.
Not
I used to watch football last season still, but this season I was a Redskin fan my whole life, and now I don't even care about any of it at all.
None.
Yeah, it's not. And I'd much rather do. Somebody asked one day what we did for fun, and it's like,
That was Eva.
Yeah, that's right. Eva asked. I was like, we do this. This is
what we do right here.
Mhm.
This is our.
Talk about fun stuff.
Exactly.
To me, this is more interesting and more valuable because I see it as an investment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Investing our energy into a new tomorrow. What is football? It's the same every year. It's the same players, the same kind of results. There's no. It's not going to improve. It's not going to take us anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Our imaginations and these kind of conversations can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I want that. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. So much fun to watch them too.
Yeah, it's really fun when you have your imagination go there and then you start see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
You start to recreate your thinking, and then all of a sudden something happens. You're going like, oh, I was just thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
What about all the coincidences?
Yeah, coincidences.
Yeah, the things we can't. There's no explanation for.
Synchronicities.
Absolutely no explanation for, and we both saw it happen multiple.
Oh, and they keep, for you guys especially, it seems like they're getting more intense to they're like, haha, let us show you this now. Like they're really trying to trick you.
I think we're opening ourselves to it. We're checking our opinions and just doing what if. What if it wasn't this way, or what if I didn't think that way, or catching ourselves when we are being closed-minded. And it is opening doors and making us think. We are multi-dimensional beings. That means we can hold differing opinions about the same thing. And it's actually fun to watch. I'll speak for myself. Watch myself approach these things and watch the multiple opinions, actually multiple truths, start to sprout.
Yeah, within yourself. Without factoring in someone else's. Yeah. It is really interesting. And there's stuff that happens, like you're saying, the synchronicities. I mean, just in the last week, we could list, I don't know how many, but it's like there is no possible way that it was not divinely, messaged.
Yep.
There's just no way. I mean, it happens regularly now, daily. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yep. And I think it's just going to move faster and faster for those who, I don't know if it's quite expecting it, but definitely urging it on. My energy is urging it on to, not with pressure, but just invitation.
Being open to receive.
Yeah, and paying attention this week for me has been a lesson in paying attention when I get a message and I ignore it. And then I go on to do it. And it can be on the smallest things. And then I'll be, watching my reaction to me ignoring my higher self's message, doing something, and it turning out the way it did, and my reaction. So I beat myself up. Did I recognize it, and what did I do the next time it happened? Because we're messaging ourselves constantly, and it's really a self-study.
What about
100% self-study?
Yes.
What about me finding that book?
Which book? Oh yeah.
I went in there the other day.
It was yesterday.
And just went to meet my counsel and I basically said that it was just for me. It wasn't for anyone else. So I went in there, and so I had to get comfortable and be open, and I had to let go of feeling selfish and go through that. So I did all that. And so I started getting, started feeling something coming, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I got raise, the word raise. And and I was questioning it, and I knew not right away, it wasn't RAISE, it was RAYS. And so I said, rays of sunshine, and I kept putting it, and nothing would stick to it. It was just rays. And so I said, all right, well, okay, well, I'm ready for some more. Not anything more. And I'm like, well, I don't get it. So I was in there for at least, I don't know, I want to say 45 minutes. And that's all I kept getting, rays. So I finally said, okay, all right. So
I trust my counsel.
I trust my counsel. So I didn't get enough. I was going to write something, and I didn't even write raise because I thought it was incomplete. And I usually only start writing when I have something, at least a phrase, to put down. So I went ahead and I went to go look for some more books to read, and I found a couple, and I downloaded, I used Kindle Unlimited. So I found, and I've been on a Palladian kick lately for trying to find Palladian books. So I found 2, and I was trying to decide which one I was going to start reading first. And this one was really, really strong. So I just started reading. And the funny thing is, I showed her the book. There were no reviews, so I don't know if anyone had ever downloaded it or whatnot. So, and I never pick a book that doesn't have a review. So, and so I went ahead and
it was written.
Started reading it, and I was reading it, and then I read it for about 2 hours. It's a long book. It's about 800 pages. So,
and it was written in
1985. Okay, so. Then I'd read for a couple hours, so I went ahead and closed my Kindle, and I was getting ready to get up because I knew she was
coming home,
getting ready to come in the door, and so I said, "Oh, wow, I really like this book." So I thought, "Oh, I'm going to look it back up," because I couldn't remember the title. So I turned my Kindle back on and brought up the book so I could see the title. The name of the book, Rays of Truth.
Oh my God.
I did not even realize it till just then.
Wow, that's so funny.
Sitting in the recliner in there, and he was like, I got to tell you about this book. It was so funny. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it happens constantly now. It's really just the crystals. We were talking about the crystals earlier today. It's just fun. Yeah, we're having fun with it.
Yep.
But, well, thanks for coming to play with us.
Yes. And, thank you.
Just 1 second. I'll turn off the recording.
No, don't kick him out.